Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another edition. Gary, Standing Stones. Hello there, Catherine. How you doing there, Pamela? And we got Crystal in the house. Well, what do you say there? Yeah.
All right.
Prospecting U.S., hunting America's treasure. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Wednesday evening there. Broadcasting live from Louisville, Kentucky, Joanne Stewart. Hello there. Hello, everybody. So, Tracy, what we got cooking?
Hey, doing well, Grizz. Everything's going good. Bought a few old things over the weekend at a flea market, and yes, haven't had anything interesting. We do our prayer before we come in the house and all that, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to show you this little guy right here. A little
Welcome,
old Fisher,
Anthony Lewis. Yeah, look at that.
little Fisher Price, little people from I think it's like the '60s, maybe a little bit older, but yeah, those things there, we got lots of them, and those are the ones I'm always thinking. Even though they're small, they might have something attached to it. But we asked it to stay out, so hopefully they stay out. Got a really good guest tonight. I'm not sure if everybody's heard of him, but I'm sure you have. He is Bill Slevin. He's the founder of the Paranormal Existence Research Society in Coral Springs. They have teams in Florida, Georgia, New England, the UK, Italy, and Greece. Look at that, Grizz.
Oh,
Pick those up over the weekend, too. They're original 70s. Got one more.
Oh, watch out, ladies and gentlemen. He's playing with the Muppets.
We're on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill's been in the paranormal field for 35 years. Over 35 years, he's done over 500 residential investigations. He's been on a lot of TV shows, radio, podcasts, magazines, newspapers. Talked to him before this. He actually has a book that's going to be coming out pretty soon. He's on the Travel Channel. The newest one he's been on is The Devil's Academy, and it's on Discovery Plus. He's also been on the cover of American Paranormal Magazine in March and in August, and is on the July edition of Paranormality magazine. He's also the regional director and part of the management team for the Warren Legacy Foundation. And, well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot more to this, so we're just going to bring him on and talk to him about it. How's that?
Bill, come on down. Welcome.
How you doing?
Doing fine, Bill. Welcome to the show, sir. Nice
Thanks
to have
for having me.
There he is.
Absolutely, yeah. Introduce yourself.
So, I don't know if I could beat that introduction, but yeah, that's about everything there. He said the Warren Foundation and my team. The only difference was on my team, it's not New England, it's Nebraska is our other team.
I saw the NE. Sorry about
everybody does that. No, everybody does that. But yeah, I've expanded the team lately over the past year, and we've stretched out quite a bit. And like you were saying, American Paranormal Magazine has been so good to us. I was on 4 covers in 2 months. They highlighted my Georgia team, my Nebraska team, the Warren Foundation, my Florida team, and then me personally. So it's been an interesting year.
Awesome.
No, that is great. That is great. I know Chris probably has the same question I do. What got you into all of this? What started it all for you?
Absolutely.
Well, since I was little, I was always into horror, anything like that. I mean, back then you didn't have paranormal TV shows and things, you had a few movies and I always joke because the only movie that ever scared me when I was young was The Exorcist. So I don't know how I kind of progressed into this, but I started researching when I was young, just trying to find anything I could because couldn't really talk to people about this. You couldn't, it wasn't out in the open. So it was hard. I'd go to the libraries, find any books I can, read about it, until about, I think it was like 1988 or somewhere around there where I was actually able to go and investigate with some people, little by little. It just kept building my interest, and then my own personal experiences I had here and there kind of made me question a lot of things. So it just kind of made me want to learn more about it. and get in. And I went right into it once I started doing residentials. I felt that was my calling, was with, I love doing the public stuff too. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but residentials was really, I wanted to help people.
How did you come about, just out of curiosity, your first hunt? I mean, were you advertising or what was going on?
No, you couldn't really do anything back then. A few people I knew what I did, knew what I was into this and I was doing on my own. And they had, one of my friends called me and said, "Hey, I have a couple friends that do this in another town, and they're going on an investigation and they need an extra guy because one of their guys was sick." So I said, "Yeah, sure. I would." I was dying to get into a residential case. And it's funny because I always talk about the fact that I've been studying demonology for a long time now. And it is a very rare thing, demonic cases. But that first case, I talk about it a lot. That was my first residential case. It just happened to be a demonic case where we were in there for, I swear, for not even 10 minutes. And the guy next to me got full on attacked, scratched from his neck to his spine and, all the way down to his back. And most people, I think, would have probably run from that and probably never do this again. But it gave me a lot more fuel. I had so many questions after that. Why did it attack him? Why didn't it attack me? Why didn't it attack the third guy? It kind of opened me up to want to know more. And I guess I realized this is what I want to do.
So out of curiosity, what happened with that hunt? I mean, did it go away? Or what'd you guys do? What were you like? Was it lucky for you, or?
Well, what happened was, again, it wasn't my case. I was on with these guys just helping them. So when he got attacked, we immediately got out of there. We backed out. We told the lady, she was an older lady, "You have to go find a place to stay for tonight, until we could figure out what was going on." They contacted, a priest that they knew to come and do a minor rite of exorcism in there. They didn't bring me back for the final part because they had their team member back. And, I think they were looking at me like I was kind of new. They've been doing it a little bit, and I didn't get in there. I heard that, they went in and they exercised the house, as they say. I guess it was just at an infestation stage and not like a possession. And as far as I know, everything was cleared up after that. But it was a pretty interesting experience being your first case, not what I was expecting at all.
Now, I bet that scared the heck out of you, though, didn't it? I mean, or I guess you said it didn't really bother. For most people, it would scare it. I know, like for me and Grizzly, it would bother me quite a bit. What about you, Grizz?
Yeah, yeah. I stopped by the church today and got me an extra gallon of holy water. So yeah, I sure did.
No, it's one of those things. For some reason, I wasn't scared at that time of what happened. I was more curious, and I always tell everybody, the cases I'm called into to help determine if they're demonic or not, those are the cases I do them because I want to help people, but I never look forward to them because you never know what's going to happen if it is something real. I don't look forward to those.
Well, one of the things that I've always heard through the paranormal community is it's like 1% of all hauntings is what you find to be actual demon related. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, and nobody really, I don't think anybody ever give you the exact amount, right? But is that kind of what you find?
It's probably less. I say I've been involved in over 500 cases. I don't even know anymore. It's probably closer to 6, 7. I don't know, but I've been on 7 confirmed demonic cases, and maybe another handful or 2 that were possible that they might have just been an infestation at the beginning and it wasn't completely confirmed. But I mean, and I'm called in for specific cases like that. So yeah. I've only wandered into 2 in my life, doing this 35 years. So they are very rare, and possession is even more rare. I mean, it's usually doesn't get to that point, and it's definitely a rare event.
So trying to think, what about when you do your cases, your private cases, and I'm not diving in, just so everybody knows, Bill is a member of the Warren Legacy Foundation, so I'm not asking anything about the Warren Legacy Foundation stuff. Yep. I'm just curious about your own hunts.
Sure.
What have you found anything that like mediums have helped you out or psychics or anything like that when you're going to any of these?
Yeah, I have some great people on my team with amazing abilities, and even beforehand, like before my own team, when I worked with other teams and on my own, I've worked with a lot of different ones, and some of them are truly amazing, and they do help because I'm an empath. So I go in the house, I can sense like the energy, and I can sense the emotions, but
Yeah,
I can't see like they can. I've never opened myself up to it. I mean, maybe I can. I don't know. I never tried, but
yeah.
they've helped tremendously in things. It is really. I mean, I wouldn't say, rely completely on them going through a case, but it does help. It does help at times, especially if you're trying to find out what it is and who it is, and they could have a little more insight than we may find.
I know I haven't had the opportunity to do much with any mediums or psychics whenever I do my private hunts, but I know Chris, you've dealt with a lot of them throughout time.
Yes. Yes. I
He has,
do a lot.
yeah, he does other podcasts too as well, and I know you do one with a couple different mediums, don't you?
Yes, I do. I actually do one that actually worked with the Department of Intelligence
Hmm.
that did remote viewing on the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Worked with the FBI and
Wow.
CIA as well. So,
Well,
yeah.
with our community is it's grown. Of course, we're not as tight knit as there once was, but I guarantee you guys know some of the same people. I would guarantee you guys do.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right.
So then we're talking about just outside of the Warren Legacy stuff, just your stuff through the years. Have you, we talked about 1%, and in your case, you had like 7 potentials out of 600, maybe 700. What do you typically find is the actual issue?
Of a regular haunting?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, does it come down to mentality stuff? Is it?
It's, I tell people most cases I do is probably 70 to 80% nothing. That Coral Springs, Florida. um, besides that, so if you look at that 20-30%, a lot of times it's that percent isn't even fully paranormal. Sometimes it's just energy. So you have a lot of different things. There's a lot of people who out there now who learned maybe just from TV, and they don't look into the natural causes. Like one thing that wasn't in my bio there. During the day, I'm an IT director, so I've been in the technology field for over 30 years. So I know technology, I know CCTVs, I know photography. I'm
Mhm.
I'm getting my PhD this year in parapsychology and metaphysical humanistic science. Studied
Oh, cool.
quantum physics, quantum mechanics, all this stuff. So we try to be very, very scientific on what we do, because if we're going to help people, we want to give them the best answers possible. So when we're in those cases that we think it's something, sometimes it's energy, sometimes it's self-manifesting. Sometimes a lot of it is residual hauntings, residual energy in the house. Um, you know, the poltergeist. It's a funny thing with everybody that says poltergeist. I mean, I've seen everything you can think of. I've seen things fly across the room. I've seen it, but most poltergeist activity has been talked about and studied in parapsychology. That a lot of it is from the energy of teenagers. Um, it can be from anybody, but they've done a lot of studies on teenagers, especially female teenagers that are going through puberty, that their energy shift is so strong that can actually cause things to move around the house, and it causes a negative energy in the house, which just creates havoc. There's times
That's
we'll tell
interesting.
people, yeah, there's times we'll tell people they just need to shift the energy in their house a little better. Maybe straighten up a little bit. People that we don't look down on anybody, we don't judge anything. But if you tend to have a lot of stuff all over the place, like a little bit of a hoarding and stuff, that can trap the negative energy in the house and create a lot of problems. But for the most part, there is nothing normally in a house that's going to harm you. You know, people asked, well, aren't they evil? Can't they harm you? And yeah, demons are separate, you know, but regular spirits, no. But we always say that if somebody was a cranky old person in life, most likely they're going to be even more cranky in death.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be so happy, and they're not going to be that friendly, you know.
Well, what I heard was if you have a 16 or a 17-year-old daughter, ship them to grandma and grandpa's or to a boarding school.
Exactly.
Get that negative energy out of there. I'm just kidding. No, that's tremendously interesting to me. Yeah, I've never really thought of that. You know, I have two daughters. Of course, they're in their 20s now, and yeah, you know, if you think about looking back, I never realized anything moving around or anything, but I could guarantee there was probably some negative energy in the house at some point in time during those years, right?
When I bring that up at a lecture, you start seeing all the parents like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what it is, but there has been a lot of studies on it, you know.
So, and that's interesting. You brought up the lectures, man. How many lectures do you do typically in a year?
I don't know anymore. Especially September, October. I have right now, I'm in the middle of 4 Saturdays in a row. Now, I work during the day, so, you know, unfortunately, I have limited time, but I do a lot of, you know, conventions and stuff around everywhere I could get to as much as I can throughout the year. We just had the Phantasm Horror and Paranormal Convention in October. Like I said, I had 4 libraries in a row now. I got 2 left, one in Miami, one in Coconut Creek. And then I already have a whole bunch of things booked for the beginning of the year. And it's a lot, you know, and I like to do it because we do it to try to help educate people. We want to entertain them too, but we're trying to educate people, both people that maybe are like people listening that don't know as much about it, and also people coming into the field that want to learn. I like to try to help them learn kind of the correct way, you know, especially if they're going to do residentials, because it is different when dealing with people, you know.
So how many years have you been doing the lectures themselves, just the lectures?
Probably consistent, maybe the last six or 7.
The reason I'm asking that is, and I'm sure you've noticed it, but I'm sure you've noticed that there's a gradual, probably growing of an audience, right?
Yeah. We do MegaCon. They give us a massive space at MegaCon. They're so good with us. And this past year, I mean, our panels were packed, 500 people in the room and 400 outside trying to get in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've actually learned, like, I never liked public speaking, to be honest, but I like what I do, you know, and I've learned to like the bigger crowds because they're more interactive, you know, and they're fun. But I've done everything from crowds where we had 2 people, you know, up now to 500-600. And it's fun. I like doing it, you know. People seem interested.
No, that's amazing to me. That, you know, you like I said, probably 6 years ago, you're probably lucky to. I'm assuming you'd have been lucky to get maybe 50 to 100, right?
It depends. It depends on the place. Like a lot of the libraries, some of them are smaller. So we get maybe 20, 30 people. But like the libraries here in my town, Coral Springs, and also Coconut Creek right next door, where we're going to be in October 21st, we usually get over 100 people there.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty good for a library. They have a big like arena in there. It's also for the college. It's also a library for the college there. So it's pretty big.
And you know, I consider that absolutely spreading positivity for the paranormal community, that you're respected that much that people want to come hear you. They want to hear your stories and then hear you talk. And you know, we talk a lot, Grizzly and I, about, you know, new people coming into the trade, so to speak,
right? And
trying to mentor them, whether it's through our podcast or through people we know, stuff like that, hooking them up with the right people. So that's awesome that you do that. And to me, that's a major point of spreading positivity in the community. That's where you start. getting those people involved.
It can be tough sometimes because, especially a lot of the newer people that come in, a lot of them have learned from, like I said, from watching, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and which is fine. I mean, go out and have fun and do. But if they want to do something working with people and really learning about this field, listen to the people who've been doing this a long time. A lot of them don't want to listen to it. I've been told, I have an ego if I tell them something, and it's like, listen to us. When I don't, even when I go on those Facebook groups I told you about, and I'm trying to give people, answers that they're looking for. It's not always the answer they want to hear, but I try to do it respectfully, and just listen to people who have have years or decades of doing this. I've worked with some amazing people who have mentored me throughout the years, and it's the way to learn. Everybody can teach you something.
Absolutely. You there,
No,
Tracy?
I agree with that 100%. Through, you've been. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
Am I there?
Yep, you're there.
Oh, my dog barked and it woke the computer up. Hey, walk us through. You're in your bio. You're talking about the radio. You're talking about the TV and stuff. How did you go about starting all that process?
Well,
where we talked about your hunts a little bit, which is awesome. But how did you go to that?
I think I lost part of that question, but I think I know what he was asking.
Yeah, he's freezing a little bit.
Yeah. When I did all this, again, I was doing mostly residentials, and I wasn't looking to be out in the public. I was doing what I did to help people. We're a nonprofit. We don't charge anything. And I was really doing it to help people. And I started learning that I wanted to get out there and try to help educate people and get our name out there a little more, so that we're a little more understood and respected out in the field, so people know. Because we deal with a lot of clients, and a lot of times some of the hardest things we have to deal with is, one, convincing a person that they're not haunted is the hardest thing.
Right.
And two, a lot of them want to look at the feel. I know a lot of people don't like the word experts, but they look at it like, the people on the TV shows are the experts. And I'm not saying they don't know anything, but that's not always the case. They're doing stuff for entertainment, so you got to know how to draw the line between that. So it's kind of what got me out and trying to educate people a little more. People started seeing me out there, and then I started getting contacted for some shows and podcasts. I've been on, everybody contacts me now with a lot of podcasts. They want to talk to me. They want to hear about everything. So it's kind of how I got out there. Well, no, I and I love doing it. But it wasn't my main concern at first. That's why I was doing this for a long, long time before anybody really knew who I was, except people I was working with,
Yeah. Question. Anthony Lewis. Out of all the ghost hunting books on the subject that you're aware of, which one do you find to be the most clear on the subject?
Now, that's a really tough question, because you can't really see it, but if you see back there, I have shelves of books. I say this: read every one of them if you can. I have probably over 100 on audio, and probably a couple hundred back there. Every book is different. I have never found one book that I can say this is a clear-cut, guide. Read them all. Take what you feel is correct out of them. That's what I do. I mean, I could tell you, I have the Zach Bagans Ghost Hunting for Dummies back there. I wanted to read it to see. And there's actually some decent information in there, in certain parts. That's what I tried to do. I tried to learn as much as I could, because I started just by getting books and reading on it. So I started taking it in, getting out there myself, and learning what I thought was right and what wasn't, and I also talked to other people who've been doing this for a while. So, and they kind of helped guide me, but I don't know if I could think of an actual book that I could say, go and get, Maybe the
Right.
ones that I'll have coming out eventually.
There you go.
But I like them all. I do. I think it's good to read on everything, and don't read just on ghost hunting. Learn other things. Learn stuff on photography. Learn stuff on CCTV. Learn that type of things. Even a little bit into metaphysics and parapsychology and all type of things. Everything will help you in getting into this field.
Gotcha. Now, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Can you explain PERS, PERS,
Yes.
your team?
So yeah, the Paranormal Existence Research Society. I want to say it was back in, I think, 2013 originally. I had a couple people on there, friends of mine that I knew, and they were just because I got tired of dealing with other teams. I've been on and off teams for years, and there's a lot of drama and a lot of egos and stuff on teams, and not everybody. I work with a lot of teams down here that are fantastic, and they're all into, you want to say para unity or whatever. They're very helpful. But I started with my team. A couple people I had, they moved out of state, and then I kind of regrouped, and little by little, I started picking people. I am very, very picky on who I put on my team. I kept a very small team for a long time. Because I knew he was coming in to start. I kept the team very small because I didn't want to have any kind of drama, and I didn't look for people who had 20, 30 years of experience. Great if you do, but it's not a requirement on my team. I don't care. I have people on my team who have never done an investigation before in their life, but their passion for it and their personality and their, just their caring, because when you go in a person's house, you got to be able to deal with everything. You might run into psychiatric illness, addiction, so many different things. And if the person has the passion to help people, I can teach them how to investigate. That's not the hard part. Like I said, during the day, I'm an IT director, but it's for a psychiatric drug and alcohol treatment facility. So over those 10 years with them, I've learned a lot about psychiatric illness. And, you need people that have like the patience and everything. So I started building my team a little bit here, and I kind of kept it pretty quiet for a bit. And then I just found some amazing people that I wanted on the team, and we kind of expanded. So now we're like all over Florida. I have people on the West Coast, the East Coast, Georgia team, Nebraska. And I always had the international, and a girl that I met years ago that wanted to be on the team here, but then I found out she only lived here for like a month out of the year. So when she's here, she works with us, but she travels between Italy, Greece, and the UK sometimes. So she runs a team over there of ours. So little by little, I don't want to get too crazy, but sometimes I have to. Some of the people I have are just amazing people.
That's awesome.
No, that's cool. That and I know some other groups that are. Dang it! I know some other groups that have kind of branched out just like that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
You're going to have to talk, Chris. I know of other groups that have branched out like that, and that's awesome. I'm not sure why my computer is acting up like this tonight. So
those
I apologize.
demons.
That's right. The gremlins are gonna come get you.
Yeah, my newer teams in Nebraska
Can you hear me, Chris?
and Georgia.
Yeah, we can hear you.
My newer teams in Nebraska and Georgia.
I want to sign in.
They're all great people, and they're people that I've worked with. Some of them for a long time outside of my team. And that's how I just decided to build it a little more and get them involved. And I'm excited to have all of them there.
That's awesome.
He's going on and off.
I think he was switched to his phone. What is your go-to equipment when you're going on an investigation?
Me?
I'm going to
yes.
I always will go back to audio. Audio to me is just it's just the best type of evidence. I mean, of course, like I have, since I'm an IT guy, it makes it a bad combo because I have a ridiculous amount of equipment. If you've seen my page or you've seen any of my setups at the conventions, I have a massive space with a lot of stuff. But 90% of that we don't use in a person's home. We use audio, video, more environmental stuff like, things that do temperature changes and EMF and things like that, but audio to me really is probably my go-to because I don't, I can, especially as IT, right? There we go. Especially as IT, I tend to know how a lot of this equipment can be triggered by other things, so I try to stay away from that. But audio is very hard to discredit when you get a clear-cut voice responding to you.
Right.
Not the staticky stuff, I don't that stuff could be something, but I don't consider it, viable evidence. Unless we could understand clearly, I don't consider it evidence.
What is your most memorable investigation?
Probably that first one. I mean, it's hard to forget that, because it was my first one and, somebody got full on attacked. Every demonic case is unforgettable. But then on the other side of it, any case that you can you can go take a family, especially when there's kids involved and they're frightened out of their minds, and you can help them and see the fear leave and see people be able to, live in their home, free of fear. And it's to me that it is an amazing thing to witness when you can do it. We get people, a lot of people, some people call and they're just not sure, but some people call and they're frightened out of their minds, and especially if they have kids. And it is a lot. It's a lot. You get kind of drawn into these cases too. It's hard not to get like emotional with some of these cases because, people are terrified, whether it is something or not. And just to help them, I mean, any of those cases, they'll always stick out in my mind.
Did you work any cases in Massachusetts?
No, I'm originally from Jersey, and I did a lot through Jersey, and some in New York, but not up in Massachusetts.
Are you able to hear me now, Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I switched over to the phone. I'm not
sure
what's going on. I got to
get out my cleansing kit.
That's right.
And, I sit at the bottom of a hill, and most of the time my Wi-Fi is pretty good, but every once in a while it kicks in towards bad. So, hey, what about? I know you can't dive too far into it, so I was wanting you to brag, not necessarily brag, but introduce people to the Warren Legacy Foundation without giving too much information. I, for one, was lucky to be inducted a while back, but I haven't been able to keep my commitment with the country music stuff, and then just with general life. And I know Jeff's listening. Jeff,
and he got locked there.
God dang it!
Jeff,
I apologize for that happening. But I do plan on diving back in within the next month or so. I definitely am planning on that. But if you would walk us through how people get a hold of them and stuff like that, because it's really an interesting process of what they do. So
for anybody who doesn't know the Warren Legacy Foundation, it was created by Chris McKennell, who's the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren, along with Lorraine before she passed away, to kind of carry on their legacy of helping people, free of charge across the country. So there's about 100 members across the world right now. I'm the regional director for the Southeast U.S., so I cover all the cases from West Virginia down to Florida. And I'm also part of the 3-person management team that helps run the whole day-to-day operations of it now. And it's a great place, of course, besides a lot of us have our own teams that, we work with. If I get cases that aren't in my area, I'll pass them to the foundation, Everybody on there is just amazing at what they do. If you wanna reach out and you need help, or you want to reach out and you want to become part of the foundation, you could go to warrenlegacy.com, and there's forms there to fill out. Now, we are, like my team, we are a little picky. Because we're looking for the best of the best. So a lot of it has to, especially now, a lot of the new people coming in are going to hit a little resistance, because we're looking for a lot of residential experience, because that's all they do. It's not, Warren Legacy Foundation is not there to go ghost hunting. They don't go out to, if on your own, that's fine, but they're not there to do things like that. They're there to help people. So they're looking for a lot of residential experience.
And then if people are having issues or feel as though there's issues in their home, how do they go about contacting them?
The same thing at the same site, warrenlegacy.com. If you go to the contact page, or I think there's a button now right on top that says if you need help, and there's a form to fill out the form, and somebody will get in touch with you literally within 1 to 2 days at the most. And they'll set up an interview and see what's going on.
I can attest to that. Within the first couple months, when I was more active, I had somebody reach out to me through Facebook Messenger from the United Kingdom, and they were talking to me about some stuff. I guess through my That Paranormal, they had heard about me through that, and paralink.com, and they reached out to me, and I talked with Jeff, and we were able to get them in the right spot. I don't know whatever happened with it, but people, it does work. You can reach out to it. They're not going to ridicule you. They're not going to think anything. No. They're going to come in with open minds and try to see what issues you may have. So
we have everybody in the foundation. We have people from every type of religion, everything you could think of. Same with my team, that everybody is non-judgmental. We're not here to judge you. We're not here to charge you. Everything is very confidential in both the foundation and my team. We do confidentiality forms and everything. We do not, one of the big things is we do not expose our clients. Like if you go to my social media, I'm slacking a little bit. I got to get a little more on it, but we don't post things from residential cases ever on there, unless it's something that it was told that they wanted us to put something out there. We do not do that. We do not expose clients. We do not expose their I don't even put up captures from there, not saying who it was. We keep everything very, very confidential.
No, and it's a great service. And you mentioned a very good thing there too. People think, oh my gosh, that group, they're probably going to charge me money to come, right? But you said a huge thing right there. It's free.
Yeah, everything's free. If you go to a team, and I tell everybody, if you're looking for a team and maybe you don't want to go to the foundation, or maybe I'm not in your area, and you want to look up a team in your area, just do research on them. I always tell everybody, make sure somebody, if they're doing residentials, make sure they have experience in it, and they have at least one person on the team who has been doing this since before the TV shows started. If you have somebody like that, they've learned a different way, so it doesn't mean that anybody who learned just from TV can't do it. I'm just saying those are things to look into. And if anybody is going to charge you, don't take them up on anything. If they want to post your stuff on social media, don't do it either. Stay away from that stuff. It's not legit.
Exactly. My team, whenever we do residentials, it's always free. We do, sometimes we go live with it as long as they give us the okay to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But most of the time, we don't really even ask, because if you get in there and you feel like, it's almost like you have a feeling that there's something weird in that house, right? So those are the ones we're like, no, we're not gonna go live. We just kind of keep it to ourselves and try to figure it out. We were lucky, and talking 4 or 5 years ago, we went on a case, and a lot of negativity in the house. A couple just brand like within a year of being married, and they noticed after they moved into this house, they were just yelling at each other. The kids were yelling at each other. And I don't know if this played into it, but there was a creek that ran about 30 feet below the ground. It's an underground little creek. So energy going underneath the house, right? So
Right.
before we went up there to investigate, we did a topographical maps. We grabbed a private investigator friend of mine, got the address, found, there really wasn't anything weird at the house that happened in the past. But to me, we took in the gizmos and gadgets, but
Right.
my main thing is like the K2 meter or, the EVP, stuff like that. But, that creek running underneath there, I didn't feel as though we got much out of that hunt. But
Right.
we asked it to leave. We kept asking if there's anybody here, let's get out of here. Let's go where you're supposed to go. And within like 3 months, we got a call back from them. They hadn't been arguing. Everything
Right.
was mostly positive. And about a year later, we got another call from another follow-up, and everything was still good. So I'm not saying we went in there and did a miracle work,
Right.
but I feel as though, something was there.
Sure.
And they just need to ask to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe that's what it is, So
And it's funny. A lot of people, when they first talk to us, a lot of things they get worried about is, like, oh God, are you going to show up here and like, and all this equipment, and my neighbors are going to see it, and you're going to be here overnight for 15 hours. And, I tell them, no. I said, most of the time we come in for a very short time. Well, not short time, but we sit there with them. We talk to them, and we'll investigate a little bit. I tell them we don't do those overnight investigations unless we feel it's necessary. Because I tell them, if we come in and we check everything out, and we hear everything, and we see what we feel it is, we're going to cleanse the house. It's important to teach the client how to cleanse their home, because they need to know how to handle their own issues in the house. So we teach them, we help cleanse. And I tell them, if we did come in for 15 hours, then we're going to have to sit there for a month or two and review footage. I said, and we're going to get down to after 2 months of going through all of this stuff, all this work, and you living through all this for the next 2 months, we're probably going to do the same thing we would have done if we just cleansed then. So it's not really always necessary. To me, it's only necessary if we think it's something bad, if we think we need to find out what it is to help cross it, or if we feel maybe it's somebody that has some kind of message, we may do something like that. But otherwise, it's not worth everybody's time in a way, because then they got to sit there and live through it for the next 2 months, waiting for us.
I agree. And then if you go through it for, 2 days editing, you might not find anything.
Right. And a lot of times, even if we find stuff, a lot of times we're going to do the same thing we would have done there the first day. So,
Yeah. And then, or you have to go back to them and say, hey, look, we didn't find nothing. Like you said, you're making them wait a couple of days just to find out if you found anything.
Right. And, I know everybody loves to investigate, and we love to do the whole thing. And, it's just not always necessary.
Gotcha.
Question for Bill. Do you know cases where spirit will block anyone try to share their story?
I don't think anything I've come across. Not really. No, not that I know of. Not that I can think of.
What about attachments? Do you have anything that you've come across or that you've even brought home that had an attachment with it? Just curious.
Yeah. I protect myself very good, but it's not 100%. I've been very lucky through my, I don't want to say career, but through my time of doing this, I've only had something attached maybe a handful of times. People have to understand there's two different types. It could be something that actually attaches and comes with you, or something that throws its energy on you. It'll do the same type of thing. But the last time I had something was last October, and it was from a situation here at the I was investigating with a team down here called War Party Paranormal, and they had access to the Riddle House at Yesteryear Village, which is very, very well known. Ghost Adventures went there, I think season 1, and we've been in there plenty of times because they get a lot of access to this place. And I've never had a problem in there. I've actually had more activity in the other houses around it than the actual Riddle house. But this time we were up in the attic, which is unusual. They usually don't open the attic to anyone. And I was up there. They were doing EVPs, and it was one of the strangest EVPs I've ever heard. The guy asking the question, what he said was, he goes, "So this guy's never been up in the attic before, talking about me, you know. And what I want you to do is talk directly to him." And as he said that, we got an EVP that spoke over him, and it said, "He's dead." Clear as day. One of the clearest captures that we've ever had. And it wasn't on my recorders, it was on one of the other guys' recorders. And I was laughing, you know, because I'm used to this. I joke that when I went home the next morning, my wife was like, "Oh, what happened?" And I said, "Oh, you got to hear this." And I was laughing, and she did not find it amusing. She doesn't really care. She supports me and everything. She works with energy and feng shui and all, and energy healing and all that, but she does not like this stuff. The next week and a half, I was a complete mess. I was ill, and there was really nothing wrong with me. I mean, I was sick. I had bad luck. I had everything. I had to get blessed and cleansed, and get everything taken off of me. And you could almost feel it. So it does happen, but as long as you protect yourself, like, you should be fine. Don't provoke things. Don't disrespect things. Not just the people in the house, the spirits in the house.
No, I agree with you there on that 100%.
Bill, do you refer Native American issues to Native Americans? I feel we often screw things up if we don't get them involved. What's your opinion, Chanel?
I don't think. Well, yeah, we can definitely screw them up. But I have people, that I know that are Native American, that worked with Native Americans, and so I'll get. It never feel weird to ask for help. Nobody knows everything. If you're unsure, you ask for help. I still do at times. Yeah. If I'm not sure about something, I will go and get a specialist on something like that. Absolutely.
That's a good question, Chanel. Yes.
So, the Devil's Academy.
Yes.
On the Travel Channel and Disney Plus. Talk about that. I mean, how long's that show been on?
I want to say it came out in March, I believe, the beginning of March.
And it's still going strong, right?
Yeah. It's a one-time show. It's one of the shock docs on Discovery Plus. Yeah. So it's not a weekly series. It's more of a documentary. It's about a 2-hour documentary. It's more like a little horror movie. They made it about an event that happened back in 1979 down in Miami. They believe it was a mass possession of a school. So they brought me in as like, because I'm a demonology specialist. So to talk about everything on there, it was a really great experience. It was a really great show. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a great story. I mean, there's a lot of there's two sides to it. It was like a military school that was run by somebody from like a general from Cuba or something, and he was torturing these kids and abusing them and physically and mentally, and they were very I believe it was all boys. Was it all boys? No, it was girls too, I think. But they were totally abusing these kids, and there's a lot of people believe that they just decided to. They were so oppressed that they just decided to act out and go crazy one day. But they were also teaching them stuff. They were not teaching them, but they were making them do Santeria, Ouija boards, tarot cards, hypnosis. There was like all kind of stuff going on there, but not teaching them how to do it properly, what to be cautious of. And one day everything just exploded in the school. And, if you look at a lot of it, it can go either way, except for there's a lot of the accounts from people that you cannot explain that definitely leads more toward a demonic possession thing. Because like the one guy, he jumped straight through the window on the second floor, landed face first on the concrete in the parking lot, and the security guard went over to him, and he got up and didn't have a scratch on him, and then picked up the security guard and threw him across the parking lot. So that's not being oppressed in the school.
No.
They were ripping doors off the hinges. Somebody said that the one girl, this is when it all started. She was being hypnotized by the teacher in the class, and she ran out of there saying that the devil was inside of her. And when they went to get her in the bathroom, they say she levitated right off the floor. So there's a lot of things to it, and it's just a very, very interesting story. I wish it would have been something that happened more recent, because then you would have had cameras and you would have had, a lot more stuff going on. But it's a really interesting story to watch.
No, I'm gonna pull that up and check that out.
Yeah.
Now, is that, you said it's a shock doc?
Yeah,
So is
it's
that
funny.
the only shock doc you got, or do you have more?
No, that's the only one I have right now.
Okay. Curious
Um,
on that.
But yeah, no, it's definitely worth the watch. Like I said, they made it into like a, they reenact things and they make it almost like a mini little horror flick.
Yeah.
And they did a good job though.
No, that's cool, and I'm glad that you do that for the community. American Paranormal Magazine. That's really
Yeah.
kind of taken off this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've been really, really great with us. It's just, they started with me back in March, and they did the Florida edition, because they have editions all over.
Yeah.
They did the Florida edition with just me on the cover, and did I don't know, 6-7 page story on me. It was really, really great. And then little by little, we've been lucky where in August we were again in Florida. My Florida team was on the cover, and they did a massive story on my Florida team. Also in August, I was on with the Warren Legacy Foundation for the international cover. And then
cool.
in September, I was on the Midwest edition with my Nebraska team, and the Southeastern edition with my Georgia team. And they just have done a lot of the stories are 6 to 8 pages long, and they're just really, really great with us. And I can't thank them enough.
No, that's and it's a cool magazine. I've seen a lot of people over the past couple months, being on it, and I'm glad that place takes care of that too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested in this, and you talked about a little bit earlier, the CCTV cameras, closed caption televisions, right? And that's not just a hobby. What do you do with that? Is there anything you do with that for the paranormal side?
Well, yeah, because the CCTV, when we talk about that, that's any kind of security camera, even a ring camera. So I've learned a lot about them working with them over years. Like in my facility where I am, we have almost 100 cameras in our building. And then in our transitional building, we have another, I think, almost 50. So I work with these cameras day and night. I see everything on them imaginable. I've learned how they work. Like, for instance, when people, get a spider web that then they think it's an orb in the house, or outside on their ring camera, they don't understand how a lot of these cameras work. A lot of them are what's called a fixed focal lens, especially ring cameras, where they focus at a certain distance. So when something like a piece of dust or a bug or a pollen or anything flies past that camera close to the lens can't focus on it. So it makes it bigger than it is. It makes it blurry. It makes it transparent. It makes it like kind of fuzzy. And then the infrared lights bounce off of it and make it glow. So it will trick your cameras. A lot of people think, well, no, it said person detected on my thing. Well, yeah, because it thinks it's a person, because the motion sensors are made to pick up things. Like motion sensors were designed to eliminate the problems with animals. Like if you have a dog or you have motion sensors, back years ago, it would set them off if they moved anywhere. So they created the motion sensors a little different now, to where they will detect things that are bigger and up higher off the ground. So when you have a piece of dust that comes floating up to the camera up here, and it's this big, it tricks the camera and it makes it think that it's a person, because that's what it thinks it is. So it will freak people out, and scare them a little bit, because it says a person's there, then they see something floating around, and so I just learned a lot about AI. I don't even want AI is going to change a lot of things, but I just like to learn a lot about that stuff because I want to know how this stuff works. So when somebody sends me, if a client sends me a video or audio or a photo or anything, I have many, many years of knowing how to look for things. I do, like I said, I do IT, but I've been building websites since 1997. I've been doing web graphic design since the mid 90s. So I know Photoshop. So I know a lot of that stuff, and I know how to kind of tell the difference a little bit. I mean, some stuff nowadays, there are people who are just beyond experts in
Oh yeah.
video editing and photo editing, and AI is going to really mess with people now. So it's tough to determine things a little bit now, but I have a lot of experience in it, so I do the best
I'm
I
not
can.
I'm not one of those guys that's good at the editing, so I can admit that. uh, there. So I saw somebody sent me something a while back, and I actually had to reach out to Jeff. That's probably about 4 months ago, of something caught on a security camera, and it
Mhm.
ended up being a spider. But
Mhm.
man, I tell you what, that looked. Have you ever seen one, Chris? A spider on a security camera at night?
Yeah, if you don't know what you're looking at, you're gonna grab your crucifix and holy water.
Yeah, man, they sent me that, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Get out of that house."
I might have even seen that one, but no, that's one of the most common things, because what people don't realize is a lot of times it's the spider web. Sometimes it's the
Mhm.
actual spider, and when the spider's there, he glows like a big,
Yep.
giant, bright ball. And I tell people, and they'll argue with me. No, we checked the next morning, and there was no spider web. There was no spider, and I try to explain to them a lot of spiders, they spin their web at night, and they remove it before morning, and then they hide.
Hmm.
So a lot of times that little piece of spider web you see that came and triggered your camera is because he was getting rid of it and it floated off, or it was hanging.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. It was the neatest
yeah,
thing ever seen.
yeah. Yeah, and that people don't realize that the infrared will definitely draw bugs to it. So it is a very common thing. And like I
Yeah, it's
said, a
hard
lot of
hard to get
people,
hard to locate orbs on them.
yeah.
It,
I
it, it really is, unless it's changing directions, and stuff like that.
I
It's really hard to debug it.
I tell people I'm a I'm a very big lecturer on orbs. I talk about it all the time, and I tell them that almost 100% of what you see on those things are not. They're completely different because they're an energy ball. So it's believed that it's a spirit trying to manifest itself by pulling the energy from the room. So first of all, you're going to see it with your eyes. You're not going to see it on camera. I don't know anybody who has ever captured a true orb on camera. I've seen 3 in 35 years. And when you see one, then you'll understand what I've been saying. It's very, very different. I tell people also, if you have a night vision camera, I'm not talking about if you're investigating, because if you're investigating, you have a camera out, you have it set to night vision. But
Yeah.
your cameras that turn to night vision when it gets dark, if a real orb came into your room, it emits its own light. It would actually be like flipping a lamp on in the room, and it would trick your camera out of night vision, and it would put it in daytime mode. So
Interesting.
yeah, so it's one of those things, and that's why I try to tell people. And like I said, some of them listen to me, and some of them curse me out. But
No, no, that's interesting because there's a few things maybe I've caught. I think I've caught like 3 orbs in my whole 6-7 years of actual investigation. So I really do my best to try to debunk, debunk
right,
to debunk them. But there's about 3 of them that I've seen that, to me, yeah, I guess maybe thinking back on it, they maybe could have been debunked just a little bit more. But man, there
it's
there there was one, I think, out of all of them that was colored, that you could see a color in it, and
right,
it was during the day in a
mhm,
room. So that was one of the ones right there. So,
right.
well, what do you think, Chris?
Interesting. Cliff Jones, I've been researching a local house for 3 years that the owner would lock his wife in the back bedroom and beat her feet with a bamboo stick. Finally, he released her and she asked her neighbor for help, saying her bed would lift up on its own and she was kidnapped and moved to Pakistan. and the spirit moved to the neighbor's house. Wow. Woof.
Now
No,
that's
thank you.
that's an interesting case right there.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So yeah. Chanel, when in doubt, throw it out. There we go. I like that saying. So yeah.
I always keep this handy.
Oh yeah, there you go.
But no, I joke with that. But yeah, no, like when I tell people, if you see it with your eyes, you'll know the difference, and it also moves extremely intelligently.
Yeah.
It will move, and it will, it's there kind of looking at you almost. It doesn't go with airflow. It's not something that's going to move to the air in the room. Not at all.
So the one that I
Right.
saw that was kind of a colored one, it kind of darted, stopped, darted back a different way,
Right.
stopped, and it just poof. After a couple minutes, it's just gone. And
Right.
it was with my eyes. It wasn't with the camera.
Right. And that's the main difference. That's the main difference.
Yeah.
And I try to tell people when I debunk their photos and videos. I do it respectfully, educational in a way, but I tell them, I said, this does not mean you did not have an experience. This does not mean something isn't going on there. This just means you didn't capture it, and that's common. I mean, the amount of stuff we don't capture,
Oh, yeah.
I always say the best evidence is never captured, because I can tell you things that I've seen and witnessed and been part of that didn't get on film for one reason or another. Like with an orb, the first orb I saw was during a demonic case, and it pulled. You felt the energy being pulled through the room. Your hair was standing up, and it drained the cameras. The lights were. It took energy out of everything in that room, and it was never caught on anything.
Before we end up ending this, what cryptids? What have you investigated? Any cryptid type activities?
I've had some people contact me with them. I'll maybe pass them on to somebody I know. I think it's very interesting, and I don't have enough knowledge to go investigate it. I mean, I would go and check it out, but I don't have enough knowledge to really know 100% what it is. I don't want to give anybody wrong information. I mean, growing up in New Jersey, we grew up with the New Jersey Devil, so,
Yeah.
I've been around that all my life, but, I've never gone to do an investigation on it. I've been on investigations where they also said they saw something outside that they thought might have been something, but I just haven't had the experience. I try to focus it more on the other stuff.
Now you're in luck if it comes to a Bigfoot, because Grizzly Chris happens to be an expert on Bigfoot.
Yes.
Well, I'm not an expert, but I've got some well-rounded knowledge.
He's got a lot of knowledge on us.
Yeah.
So please keep him in mind if somebody does come to you about Bigfoot. Keep him in mind.
Absolutely.
He's a good guy, and he is there to help. So
right.
Yes.
We have down here. What do they have? What do they have down here? Skunk apes.
Yeah. Swamp ape, skunk ape. Yeah.
Yep.
They sure do. But Bill,
that's
it's been
a
a
big
pleasure.
Thing.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me,
Bill.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and you're more welcome to come back anytime.
Anytime, you just let me know.
Hey, before we get off here, Chris,
yes, sir.
I just want to tell everybody, if you get opportunity, look up the name Paranormal. It's a song by Tracy Inman. I wrote it for the paranormal community. It has a positive message to the community. I'm not trying to brag on myself. I'm not looking to make money off of it or anything like that, but I would like for people to listen to it. It's on platforms, or you can watch it for free on YouTube, right? Just type in Tracy Inman Paranormal and it'll come up. It's a song. Just trying to put smiles on people's faces. So
there you go. From coast to coast and around the world. You all have a good night. We'll see you at 9:00. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.